Hi, my name is Maria KOROLOV. I'm the editor of MetaStellar. And if you're a returning viewer, welcome back to our show. If you're new to the channel, MetaStellar is a magazine that publishes original science fiction, horror, and fantasy. We also publish essays, book reviews, excerpts, reprints, and other content of interest to fans of speculative fiction. We launched last year, right in the middle of the pandemic. Since then, we've had more than 700 contributed stories and articles, published more than 200 of them by more than 150 or so writers, and have had over 40,000 page views. And we run completely by volunteers, and we're able to pay for original fiction thanks to generous contributions of our supporters. The link to our Patreon page is in the description below. So please contribute. Very highly appreciated. And if you like this kind of content, please hit the like and subscribe buttons below. And if you stick around until the end, I'll talk a little bit about how you can join our community of writers, essay writers, and reviewers. So let's get started. Today we have with us Terence Smith, who is, there he is. He is, live long and prosper, Terence. He is one of the members of our community, one of the writers at MetaStellar, one of our board members, a longtime contributor to our writers group on Sunday afternoons. Again, everyone's welcome to join. I'll post the link to the meetup group below. And he's also a sci-fi author, and he's working on his first novel. Well, he's done with his first novel. He just needs to pick a title and start either sending it out or publish it. I think it's ready to go, super readable. And I'm sure we'll have him back to talk to us about that later. But today we're here to talk about our favorite things, sci-fi movies. And specifically, we both saw movies recently that had virtual reality in it. I saw Free Guy at the movie theater on Friday when it came out. And what did you see, Terrence?
Movie?
Oh, I saw the Grand Theft Auto movie too. Wasn't so much of a virtual reality movie though. So what did you see?
I saw Space Jam, New Legacy, and yes, that is exactly how mature I am. Went to see a movie with basketball players and Looney Tunes. Like the first Space Jam, it's one of the has a special place in my heart, having watched that movie when I was a little one, and I was curious to see how this new one came out, especially since LeBron James is in the leading role instead of Michael Jordan, who is the greatest of all time when it comes to basketball.
So what's the virtual reality in Space Jam?
Well, the basic premise of Space Jam: A New Legacy is that Warner Brothers has this AI program called Algorithm, and he's played by Don Cheadle, who just does a great job in the role. He just hams it up the entire time. He just goes all in, and I can always respect an actor for just going for it, whatever the role is. And basically, the premise is Warner Brothers brings in LeBron James and his son, who's more interested in developing video games and playing basketball. And Warner Brothers tells him, hey, we've got this cool artificial intelligence program that can stick you in any of the properties that we own. And LeBron James just brushes the idea off, saying that's stupid, essentially. And so Ali G gets pissed and he sucks owes him and his son, and to basically the Warner Brothers metaverse. Basically, it's Tron, same premise. They get digitized and sucked into the computer, and RG abducts LeBron James' son, and the only way he'll let him go is if LeBron James beats him in basketball. So, but before he can get a team together, he gets banished to Looney Tunes world. So he's stuck basically having the Looney Tunes as his basketball team. And basically, it's as ridiculous as it sounds. So, what's Big Guys virtual reality?
Okay, I think my movie is going to be a little bit more realistic, which is really weird for me to say that. So the premise of Free Guy is that there's a video game, kind of like Grand Theft Auto, where
it's a Grand Theft Auto movie,
where human players go into the game and they go around killing everybody. From what I understand, that's the main plot of Grand Theft Auto. So, and in Free City, they're doing the same thing. And the video game developer stole his code from an indie studio when he bought them up. And there's a big lawsuit going on. And the indie studio developed an AI program to run the NPCs in the game. And NPCs are non-player characters. So like the shopkeeper, or, the pedestrians, the bank tellers, that kind of thing. The people who are there just to populate the background of video games. They might say a few words, but they're not really, people.
Yeah.
They're not actually people. So these two indie developers wrote an AI program that would make them sound like real people. So it'd be more fun for gamers to interact with them. And this evil giant studio bought up their tiny little studio and stole their code. And
you're right,
now,
that is realistic.
That is realistic. And there's now this lawsuit. And in order to win the lawsuit, one of the developers has to prove that there's her code in their game. And even though her ex-partner is actually working for the big studio, and you think he could just do a search of the servers because he has access to them, but no, she has to go into the game to find the environments that she had built in there. So it's like a little bit of a treasure hunt to find the evidence that her content is in this game. And it turns out that it wasn't just the environment that the big studio stole, the landscape that's in a hidden part of the game. They actually stole the AI engine that powered the non-player characters, the NPCs. And one of those non-player characters is a bank teller named Guy. And he basically comes to life. He's like a sentient person, and he's played by Ryan Reynolds, the most awesome actor of all time.
Deadpool.
And he's been programmed to fall in love with that woman because her old partner from the India studio was in love with her, and he put that into the code. So it's a very sweet romantic story too. And the movie is awesome, and the human players play the game on headsets with a computer screen, the way they do like right now when they play Grand Theft Auto. But when the movie is filmed inside the game from Ryan Reynolds' point of view, it feels like it's super completely realistic virtual reality. And so from the Ryan Reynolds point of view, it's fully immersive. He can taste the ice cream. He can feel the water. He feels getting shot, So these NPCs are really suffering in this game. They're being killed over and over again. So and so what would then that's the premise of the movie. Can the developer find her stolen code? Can they save Ryan Reynolds and the other AI generated characters from being erased by the evil studio? I loved it. It was so much fun. It is absolutely ridiculous. The plot kind of makes sense, but in other ways it doesn't. Like, at various points in the game, why didn't they just hit the big bad guy, just hit the reboot button, so but if you like suspend a little bit of disbelief, it's a lot of fun. And since it's a Disney movie, they get access to a whole bunch of Disney stuff, and I don't want to give away the spoilers, but there's some cool Disney stuff that shows up in this movie from other Disney franchises. So a lot of fun cameos, and I really had a lot of fun watching it. And I personally thought that it was like way realistic, and its depiction of AI and virtual reality from the perspective of the in-game non-playable characters was very, very interesting. And the AIs were sympathetic. The AI wasn't the villain, which I liked because I'm a big fan of AI.
It sounds like what you're saying is that Free Guy isn't just a goofy video game movie. This could just be my over-analytical brain talking, but it sounds like basically it's an analogy for the whole idea that all of us and society are just like expected to play our own role, and that basically it sounds like the NPCs don't have any kind of fair treatment, because basically they're just treated like they're just literally pawns in this games. They aren't treated like any kind of sense of humanity, which you can argue that basically the major structures and these giant corporations, that's how they treat us. We're not real people. We're just basically we're just basically expected to keep the cogs turning, essentially. But okay, enough of my.
No, you are totally right. There's moments in the game where the indie developer tells Guy, the green shirt guy, the Ryan Reynolds character, that life is just a game, and all he and all his friends are merely actors, background
all the
actors.
world's a stage.
Exactly.
Said.
I think that video games are the current metaphor. It used to be that life is a dream that we wake up from. And then life is a stage, and all the people merely players, walking on and off the stage, right? And now life is a video game. I think it's the current metaphor for existence, which I find extremely interesting. But I also really enjoyed the discussion of what is reality. Is reality the fact that you're living in a natural world versus a created one? Or is reality the relationships we have with each other? And Free Guy actually literally addresses that issue directly. Like, what is the meaning of reality? Is this real? It's manufactured. Does that make it any less real if it feels real to us? If we care about the people that we're there with, that we share experiences with them. I think that's super important as we live more and more of our life online. Like, here we are, we're having a Zoom meeting. I haven't seen you in person for what? It's been a year and a half at least?
Year and a half, really? That long?
Probably more, because
How do I know you're not just a computer program?
I could be like, a video AI generated video fake, what's that called?
A deep fake.
A deep fake. I could be a deep fake, or a shallow fake, depending on how you feel about me. But anyway, so we're existing virtually. We're interacting with each other virtually in a virtual environment with a virtual backdrop. Let me show you what the background actually looks like here. That's my background. So I'm wearing makeup. This isn't my real face. Oh, I've got the filters turned on, probably here on Zoom. So yeah, it's like barely anything you see about me is real. Oh, my hair's dyed. Yeah. I'm almost like I'm 90% a virtual person as it is. But the interaction we're having right now is real interaction. I mean, I miss seeing you, but seeing you every single week at our meetings, the MetaStellar meetings and the writers group meetings, which are open to the public. I'll post the link below. Makes me feel like we have a relationship. You're working on a book. I want to help you get it published. I've read it since we started going online, and I want to help you do a cover mock-up for it and get it out there to your audience. Those are real things that we're doing virtually, and it's still meaningful, and it's still valid. And I do feel like you're my friend, even though we're not physically in the same room together anymore.
Yeah, that's kind of, I know, I guess that's kind of how I feel about the Looney Tunes. I know they're just cartoon characters made by some people in the studio, but I grew up on these characters. I mean, they're just classic cartoons, and just those cartoons were basically kind of an education on the history of animation, and I just well, they're fun. I mean, life is too serious as is. Sometimes you need a little loony in your life.
I learned most of what I know about classical music from Bugs Bunny cartoons.
Oh yes, yeah, the opera episodes. So
I love those.
Have more fun. Oh, and the movie does reference one of those episodes as well.
I want to see that. I want to see that now.
Yeah, there's a scene early on after LeBron James is digitized and tunified that one of those episodes are referenced.
The basketball wasn't pulling me in, but seeing one of Bugs Bunny doing opera, I'm in. I want to see it.
Well, he doesn't exactly do an opera, but for any of the diehard Looney Tunes fans out there, they'll know the scene when they see it.
Well, I've seen all the Bugs Bunny cartoons on Saturday mornings over and over again. So definitely, I think I would qualify as a hardcore fan.
So
Or at
you're
least the
just as
medium,
mature as I
medium
am.
core. Like maybe I'm a medium core. Yeah.
Yeah. The thing that one thing I also thought was kind of cool about the movie, okay, doesn't hold the candle to the original Space Jam, which even if you don't call it a good movie, it was good for what it was, I think. And one of the things I liked about this movie is just that how heavily leans into the video game concept, the basketball game that LeBron James has to play with Looney Tunes. The game is based on a video game that his son developed. So there's all these like score multipliers and combos and power ups. So basically, it is a video game.
The original Space Jam. What was the plot reason for them interacting with cartoons?
Well, the reason for that was basically aliens come to Looney Tune land to abduct the Looney Tunes and make them perform at this nightmarish amusement park on a planet called Moron Mountain. And the Looney Tunes challenge these aliens to a game of basketball for their freedom, since the aliens were like super short and kind of scrawny, but then the aliens steal the abilities of professional NBA players to become these giant buff alien basketball players. Yeah, you can tell that this isn't exactly high art, really. So the Looney Tunes basically abduct Michael Jordan to get him to help them win the game. And in the new Space Jam, new Legacy, basically the Looney Tunes are characters and the whole like Warner Brothers metaverse, along with a bunch of characters from the other properties that Warner Brothers owns are in there as well. They all come out to watch the basketball game. You've got the Flintstones, Yogi Bear, King Kong. You have the dudes from the Clockwork Orange, and you have Pennywise in the background as well, which I'm not sure what he's doing in a kids movie. Are he's looking for children to eat? I have no idea.
Another series that did that kind of transformation, old school to video game, is Jumanji. Have you seen the last two Jumanji movies?
No, but I did kind of want to check out the first Jumanji movie. I mean, it looked like it would be a fun movie, and also I think The Rock is in it. And personally, The Rock is enough for me to want to see a movie.
Yeah. So The Rock is awesome. Like in the old school ones, it was, oh my God. In the first Jumanji movie,
Robin Williams,
yes. So the game was magic, and the animals and everything kind of invaded Earth and stuff. And it was the magic board game. And in the last two Jumanji movies with The Rock, it's a video game. People turn on the video game and it sucks them in. So instead of a board game sucking you in, it's a video game that sucks you in. and you play video game characters, and everybody changes to a video game avatar in a virtual reality. And it doesn't quite hit the same kind of philosophical themes as Free Guy does. So in Free Guy, the movie is about corporate ownership and indie development versus big studio development, and about sequels and in games that glorify violence like Grand Theft Auto. And it's about artificial intelligence and the meaning of community and the meaning of reality. So it's actually like a deep movie for a Ryan Reynolds movie. Free Guy is actually really good and really deep, and I'm not surprised it did really, really well in the box office. The Jumanji movies were just pure fun. I mean, they never explain who wrote the video game or how it works or anything at all. You go in there, it's an adventure, and you come out. But the characters, I love the characters in the Jumanji movies. The Rock was awesome. Jack Black was in there. It was just a fun romp. It was like pure fun. But yeah, I think we're going to be seeing a lot of those. We had obviously Tron, going all the way back to Tron. We had obviously the Matrix movies.
Yes.
We've had several video game movies lately, like Ready Player One.
Yes, I saw that one. I watched that movie, and I read the book.
I only read the book. I haven't seen the movie yet.
Yeah, the movie's pretty good. I mean, I actually think that, in some ways it has, it's its own experience. It has some strengths over the book, and maybe some aspects are a little, well, how do I put this? Basically, the book interrupts you like every couple of pages or so to hit you with some like 80s trivia.
Yeah.
And the movie, you're just in it. You're just thrown into the madness. And there are a lot of cameos from other video games in there. Like you have Master Chief in there, you have Battletoads, you have Street Fighter, and you even have Chucky from the Child's Play movies that manages to get in there. So basically, come to think of that, it's not that dissimilar from Space Jam New Legacy. It's this big virtual universe inhabited by all these characters from different properties, kind of just like all tossed together, like pouring out a bunch of toys from your toy box and just having them go at it, essentially.
There was another movie that was set in a video game, a cartoon, like a Donkey Kong style game where the protagonist was the bad guy.
Oh, Wreck-It Ralph.
Yes, Wreck-It Ralph.
That's a movie. I love that movie.
I love that.
Wreck-It.
I love that movie. I love the sequel. Again, the premise is that the non-player characters inside video games have their own lives.
Yes.
And I gotta say, I love that premise. I really, really enjoy that premise a lot. And I'm looking forward to seeing more movies like that. And I'm sure there will be. I know they're making a sequel to Free Guy. Yes.
Because Disney likes money. So,
yes.
Of course.
And they joked about it inside the movie about how bad sequels were.
Well,
But I'm happy they're making one because I personally love sequels. I love sequels to movies that I love.
I will say that as a sequel to probably, at least was to me, one of the most iconic movies of all time. Uh, that is how mature I am. Another reminder. I will say the sequel, I mean, it wasn't terrible, but one thing I did notice was that it looked like the Looney Tunes were all animated digitally on the computers, and the Looney Tunes and the first Space Jam, you can tell that they had a much more hand-drawn quality. I mean, I feel like the movie loses something by having the characters drawn digitally.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you would say that because you're an artist, right?
Yeah, I've dabbled in art. I was an art major in college. I do some graphic design from time to time.
Okay. Well, on that note, we're gonna go. But before we go, I promise to talk to people about volunteer opportunities. So if you're interested in helping out with MetaStellar, we're growing fast. We're always looking for more people for our editorial team to help out with, say, things like copy editing and production, and people to write book reviews and movie reviews and video game reviews. And our editorial meetings are every Sunday afternoon at 1 p.m., but you don't have to come. People come when they need to, basically. So if you want to find out about it and help out, I'm going to post all the links below, including to our meetup group. Or you can email me at maria@metastellar.com, or you can leave a comment on the video. And we're at, and you can come on this show. So if you're watching this and you're a big fan of speculative fiction or you create it, come join us. So thank you very much again, everybody, for being with us today. Hope to see you again all next time. Bye-bye. Oh, and thanks, Terrence, for joining me today. I always love seeing you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.